Hello, we're standing underneath your car.
We are.
But before we reveal what it is and reveal what William Heynes drives, can we ask you about your world, your business, and what drives William Heynes?
So William Heynes Limited is a company owned by my wife and I, Amy. We maintain, restore, preserve, and look after some of and the best Jaguar of the 50s and 60s. Everything from XK20s, but mainly the bread and butter company's early E-Type, 1961, 62, as well as weirdly, we are becoming V12 E-Type specialists and everything in between. We also race and maintain a Mark I for the St Mary's at Goodwood, and the next coming years that's going to get a lot more involved, with hopefully the view that we're looking after C-Type, D-Types equivalent in the near future, with Roger's help.
Perfect. Well, you haven't been going very long, and yet you found amazing success and recognition and reputation within the business. How have you done that?
By building a good product,
yeah,
and surrounding yourself with the best people. So there's no I in everything, ironically. It's about having the right people, the right product, and the right placement, but meaning that you can do the job without question, and having full faith in the product. If that is going to oils, or if that's going to tyres, or brake pad density, that is everything.
Yeah.
What the company is.
So no stone left unturned.
No, it's a selection that, if in doubt, do something about it.
Go for the best. Yeah, absolutely.
So yes, that's roughly what we are about. We do a lot of things behind the scenes, which I quite like. We do a lot of things people don't know about, but it's a one-stop shop where we do everything from fabrication all the way through the whole shebang down to trim.
Yeah.
We use the best suppliers, the best people in the industry to get there. We are really, I like to think we're in the top few people in the world doing what we're doing. And luckily the client base behind us allows us to do that job.
And I think the results speak for themselves, really. You've been all over the place. You've been at Pebble, you've been at Goodwood.
We're going to Hampton Court.
Hampton Court.
250 in a few weeks' time. So yes, we're a young company, but now it doesn't feel like a young company. It feels like and also the family, you know, I've been doing this a long time. The family have been doing it combined almost up to 60, 70 years now.
Yeah.
So I'm the third generation of the Jaguar family. So it feels like it's not a new thing. It's a transition to modernise what we're doing.
Yeah. So it's in your blood.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah,
it's lovely.
It's been a pressure.
It shows everywhere around your workshop. It's a beautiful place to be. So we're standing underneath something. What is it?
It's a 1953 Jaguar Mark VII. So it is basically an XK120, which has got a bigger body on it.
Yeah.
They were quite a lot made, but a lot of them aren't here anymore. So I think there's less than 25 on the road. I mean, it's a really rare car now.
Okay.
And it's an old bus, and we love it. It's got some amazing history. It did the RAC rally. It did a lot of rallying period, and then it went off to the British Ambassador's car for JF Kennedy in Pennsylvania. So it's got a lot of history, a lot of government history. It's totally original. It had the odd bit of paint here and there, but it is probably one of the most original running cars. And I've quite literally done about 300 miles in it last week, coming to and from work. So it is used all the time, and that's why it's a bit scruffy. And also when it's my own car, you know, when stuff is old, it works. It tends to work better than it does if you take it apart.
Because you're using it frequently, and everything's nicely oiled and lubricated and moved around.
I mean, if it wasn't for an oil leak, I wouldn't have a car.
Preserved it from top to bottom. So we can see under here, it's quite different from what you'd expect to see under a Mark 1 or 2 cylinder monocoque. This is a body on chassis.
Yeah, total ladder chassis, body on top.
Yeah. And a sturdy old girl it looks as well from this angle.
I mean, they used to race these. I mean, Rowan Atkinson raced.
But in a straight line, Rowan Atkinson in the Jaguar should be able to gobble him up. Let's see. Tries one side.
He did quite well in it a couple of years ago.
It's actually my grandmother's old car.
Oh, was it really? That's incredible.
What's so fantastic about this car is it's got the 3.4 XK engine, which, in my opinion, I'm very biased because the family designed it, but it's probably the best of that series of engines. Yeah. 3.4, 3.8, and 4.2.
Yes.
And then 5 litre, that's a different story.
Yeah, there's all sorts you can do, yeah.
But 3.4 ran in the D-Type, it ran in the C-Type, ran in all the XK120s.
So it's a sweet spot for the range.
It was a 10-year range beater, and no one in the world, this was the best engine at its time.
And they're a rugged and solid unit.
Very much
twin cam, nice, nice breathing through the cylinder heads and those kind of things.
And, twin overhead cam engine back in the period, getting a genuine 200 plus horsepower back in 1950 was really quite something.
And I think when when you compare it to other engines of the period, it's very advanced. It's aluminium cylinder heads, and that cross-flow design and everything makes it a wonderful thing. And that's why it continued all the way through to when was end of production in possibly early 90s, even
94, I think.
Yeah, for the XK. So.
I think it was the second longest surviving production engine.
Yeah,
which is really cool.
So, and designed during the war, actually, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was done by 3 or 4 individuals, led by Heynes.
Yeah.
And but the reason they are so successful, they're understrained. They're not a strained engine.
That's right.
So they don't rev very much. They rev up to 5 to 6,000 RPM. The road engine, you don't really go above 5,000 RPM. So it's a very, very torquey bottom end with a lovely fluffy top end.
Yes.
They just have a total transition of power.
Absolutely. So we're doing a couple of jobs today. We're changing the gearbox oil and replenishing it with some of our Wagner EP90, the GL3. So it's important to use the GL3 because of the bronze gears and bushes within the early gearboxes, the 1950s gearboxes, because the later, if you went to your local motor factors and picked up a can of EP90 and poured that in, that would be a later specification, and that can cause damage to the metallurgy that was within the earlier gearboxes. So it's well matched the car. Yeah. And what we're also going to do is put a bit of modern magic in it. We're going to add some microceramic additive, which is a friction eliminator, and it will make the gear changes very slick. And of course, it prevents damage to the gears between now and when you next change the oil.
Perfect. It's exciting because it's a new. I haven't done it before.
Yeah.
There's no better way to do it than your own car.
Do it on your own car. Well, this shows trust and faith in the product. And the products, the Wagner products are an enthusiast product. They come from a huge enthusiast market. They've just celebrated their 30th year in business with a huge open day. They had over 2,000 classic and sports cars attending. And that's the level of love that they have in Germany. And now we have an opportunity via a company called Serpentine Fuels, who's bringing them into the UK as the exclusive UK distributor to have this German product. And it's a bit of liquid German engineering for every classic and sports car on the market.
So, Rog, you're telling me to put this into my engine?
Yes.
Why?
Well, it's a flush. Essentially what it does is it dissolves debris, varnish, carbon deposits, those kind of things from the inside of the engine that can break away and circulate around and damage the internals. So what we want to do is clean out the engine prior to changing the oil to get rid of the old muck, and then start with a clean, fresh engine to put the clean, fresh oil into.
So you'd recommend every oil change we do, put it in, do 20 miles, and then before we drop anything.
Absolutely. So this product, the Wagner Motor Cleaner, it's called Motor Cleaner, but actually it's applicable to automatic transmissions, power steering, manual gearboxes, rear differentials, or anything that you're going to do an oil change on, because it has the same.
It's the same as hydraulics, everything like that.
Anything like that, and all of the applications are in the instructions for it. But it's pretty multi-purpose product.
Very exciting.
Now, the thing about it is that when you buy a normal engine flush, it's essentially a naphtha-based or solvent-based product, which you pour in, and then it takes away the lubrication properties of the oil. Now, the difference with the Wagner product is it has lubricity additives in it, which protect the gears or the piston rings or any of the moving parts, the gears and bearings, during the flushing process. So you don't need to worry about this doing any damage to the engine or the gearbox when you're driving it.
Interesting.
So you drive it, as you say, 15, 20 miles, something like that. Ideally, to get the oil sloshing around a place, you actually go for a drive. You could do it just by idling the engine, but for the gearbox and so forth, you need to go through all of the different gears and make sure it's sloshing around, particularly with automatic transmissions, which are full of galleries and nooks and crannies and little valves that move around and stuff like that. Then you really want to get it through all of those things. So put the car through its paces and then bring it back into the workshop while it's still hot, drop that old oil out, and all of that debris will wash away into your dirty oil collection pan. Put the sump plug back in and then add the fresh oil, and you know that everything in the engine is clean. And of course, what this does is it means that the oil change that you've done, the service that you've done, is starting from a cleaner point, and therefore will last longer and give you a better job.
It makes total sense. It's sort of slightly idiotic that we're doing oil changes and there's still sediment issues within that engine.
Exactly right.
So you clean your oven, so I don't know why we don't
clean the inside of your engine. And of course, people are fascinated by paint cleaning technologies and the things that make the outside of the car look beautiful. Let's do the same for the insides.